Well, listen, Frederik, thanks for taking the time to join me on this
Pleasure.
call today. So for everyone watching, my name's Ryan Mattock and I'm co-founder of CommissionCrowd. Now, we're an online platform, if you haven't heard about us before, that connects companies with self-employed B2B sales professionals and gives both parties all of the tools needed to manage their working relationship. So I'm joined today by Frederik Hilbeling, if I'm pronouncing that correctly.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Now, Frederik's an experienced B2B sales professional who has kindly agreed to share his experiences with us, what it's like being a B2B sales professional that obviously works on a remote basis. And probably and hopefully some of your experiences with CommissionCrowd so far. So thank you very much for taking the time today, Frederik.
Big pleasure.
Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your background in sales before we kind of get into the self-employed part.
Sure. Actually, I started in a very different industry, in a very different type of profession. In the mid-80s, I did my degree in London in computer science, and I worked for about 7 years as a database systems administrator in Oracle and Unix environments. I don't know how I survived those 7 years because I hated every day of that job. I was poor at it. And I realized suddenly I got to get out of here. I got to do something else. This is not my world. I don't want to work in this. And that's when I decided to do an MBA. I was living at the time in the Netherlands, and I went for my MBA to Belgium, to Antwerp. Beautiful city, great MBA for a very low price. That was also very important because I had to pay it myself. Yeah. And actually after the MBA, I started rolling into, I got all type of job offers that were much more related to commerce, business to business sales, B2C sales also, but mainly B2B sales. And once I started that, I realized this is my world. Sales is absolutely fantastic, combined with marketing, combined with promotion, anything. It's really a fantastic world. And one of my first sales jobs was with an Australian company who had developed a very unique accountancy software module. So I was approaching a lot of accountancy firms at that time, especially the big four. They were still there, like Anderson, KPMG, Deloitte & Touche, PricewaterhouseCoopers. So I worked with them. And actually from that onwards, I moved over at a certain point in time. I moved to Norway, ended up again in sales for an English company in software design, kind of software for designing large structures, such as could be nuclear plants, it could be large ships, etc. And then I ended up in a very different direction, which was as an export coach, helping small and medium-sized companies to start developing their own export. And especially I was working in a number of industries, the food and beverage industry, the fashion industry, again, also software industry. Mm-hmm. But my key industries were the food and beverage industry, followed by the fashion industry. And working with small and medium-sized companies, companies who have no experience in selling abroad, mm-hmm. was really an eye-opener, and really for me, like an absolutely fantastic role. I've been doing that for almost 10 years. Yep. First 3-4 years in Norway, the last 5-6 years in the Netherlands, until last year, March. And that's when it stopped because of COVID. I had my roles there. So I was working with the ministries, mm-hmm. combination with ministries, and I had to move because of COVID to the UK because my family was living here. Right. So I lost actually all my income streams. Mm. I lost all my direction in the sense that, what am I going to do now? I can start it up here again, build it up all over here again. Yeah. But that was a real problem because of COVID. The small and medium-sized companies were not doing any international trade at that time. Things were very low. And on top of that, my industry, the food and beverage industry in the UK, yeah. for small and medium-sized companies, has been hit really hard because of Brexit. That was actually even a bigger problem. Mm-hmm. So I've been struggling around last year for about 6 months. And that's when I decided, this is not leading anywhere. It might lead to something, but it takes 2-3 years before I build that up again. And by then I'm already many years out of money, to put it that way. So I thought I need to find a quick solution.
Yeah.
And that's when I came in touch with your platform.
Excellent. No, it's been a really, really tough time. You know, I live in a town called Denia. I'm actually Scottish, but I live in a town in the southeast of Spain called Denia. And it's you know, like all of Spain, it's reliant on tourism, food and beverage, hospitality. So you know, we're seeing obviously the industry completely shut down here. And you know, obviously we hear from salespeople every single day, you know, that have faced similar difficulties. So it's been a really tough time, but obviously, you know, now we have the tools to, you know, find opportunities in other areas that maybe aren't being as affected so much. So when you joined, so prior to that, were these sales positions you worked in, were you self-employed or were you actually an employee? And when you found CommissionCrowd, were you making a transition into self-employment, or had you experience in that already?
No, I was already self-employed. I was doing these assignments for the ministry. I was paid per assignment, which was really, put it mildly, profitable business and extremely rewarding for the clients also, because they had no experience, and anything that you brought to them was for them, you know, a benefit in something new. Yeah. So I was new to the industry of being self-employed. Okay. I know the pressure that comes with being self-employed. I also know about the benefits that comes with it. So now I was experienced in that respect. Okay, great. So tell me a little bit about what is it you look for in a sales opportunity then? So when you found CommissionCrowd, what was your criteria before reaching out to a company to express an interest in potentially working with them? I had no idea. Because it was all new to me to approach customers through a platform to approach potential partners to work with through a platform as CommissionCrowd. So for me, I needed to adapt also to find out, well, how does this work, and how do people think about me? What do they expect? What are the mutual expectations? That was all new. But quickly I came to the conclusion that the most important thing for me that I was looking for is trust between, that they trust me and my abilities, and that I can trust them on their word with what they have to offer, that meets the requirements of the clients that I'm going to approach. Yeah. So trust is the most important thing. And actually I was quite pleasantly surprised by the number of companies that I felt like, love to work with them. I trust these people, you know, they're serious about it. They're serious about their product. They're serious about building a relationship with me. It's not just, these are not short-term thinking people. These are people who think about partnership, about long-term. How can we help each other and how can we grow together? Yeah. And that was a very pleasant surprise. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things we do, you know, in CommissionCrowd, because a lot of companies that join us, they haven't maybe had any experience working with independent sales professionals, especially that are working on a commission-only basis. So we've got there's an educational piece in there, and we're always focusing on, you know, it's about the sales agent, they're not employees. And it's interesting you mentioned trust, because we actually surveyed, you know, quite a few thousand of our salespeople last year, or maybe it was longer than that, actually, maybe a couple of years now. And, you know, you would expect people to talk about money and commissions and how much money they can earn, which obviously did come up, but the number one factor was trust and being able to service the clients that you're bringing to these companies. Because, you know, if they can't do that, it doesn't matter how much money they potentially say you can make selling their products. You know, the trust in the customer service factor and delivery is absolutely vital. So no, it's fantastic to hear that, you know, right from the horse's mouth. So how many, and obviously we don't probably want to get into specifics about the companies that you're working with just now, but maybe you could tell us a little bit about the industries that you're covering and give us a kind of idea of the types of companies that make up your current sales portfolio. Actually, the sales portfolio got really small. It started with a much larger portfolio, mainly companies that were operating in SaaS type of applications for customers, B2B. But actually, I started downsizing it, and currently I only work with one company, and I got my hands full on that one. Right. And it's a company the funny thing is, it's a company in an industry in which I'm not really 100%. I wasn't really 100% familiar with. It's online reputation management. What this company does, it helps other companies who have bogus reviews or reviews from competitors who write negative things about them, and we help them through legal ways to remove these reviews.
Okay.
That's what we do for B2B, but we also offer certain B2C services. Mm-hmm. We have clients who write very beautiful articles, and they are stolen, posted on all kind of websites. So we help them with when it comes to copyright infringement. And I think the most complex thing we do is we help people who are a victim of image abuse, also known as revenge porn, which is a huge thing. But many of these jobs we do actually pro bono, so I don't earn anything on that. Mm-hmm. But we earn our living on the negative reviews, basically, on the removal of that.
Yeah.
So, and that's what I like about this company. This company has ethics. This company has a product that is in demand. This company is very closely engaged with us as sales agents. I'm very close engaged with the other sales agents. We're a team of maybe at the moment 10 people. Sometimes it's 8, sometimes few leave and we get new ones, but there's always a core of salespeople who stick to it and who know this is a great business. And the fact that you can communicate also with with other sales agents who work for this company is really good, because you can share ideas, you can, and that really helps. You start triggering ideas between each other, and when you bring them to the company, this company is always very enthusiastic, open-minded in trying out things as we have discovered them on the market. Mm-hmm. I think I hope all companies are like that, but what I've seen so far, and I've been in touch with 7, 8, 9 companies. I have a feeling there are a hell of a lot of great companies out there who would work in a similar way with us as sales agents through CommissionCrowd, basically.
I've got a few in mind for you, that would potentially fit in with the company you're working with already. So, no, that's amazing to hear. I mean, it can be lonely, right? Working, you're self-employed. You're probably working from home most of the time.
Absolutely.
So, a company that's open, well, you don't want to be micromanaged, and you definitely don't want to be treated as an employee. It's to work with a company that's very open to your feedback, where you're able to collaborate with their other sales, professionals, while having all of the trust factors and everything in place is absolutely fantastic. So, no, congratulations. It sounds like you're doing well. So tell me, how did you actually come across CommissionCrowd initially? I'm personally quite interested to hear that, because I'm the Chief Marketing Officer. So it'd be lovely to hear how my efforts are doing.
Actually,
was it just
I think I got to disappoint you a little bit there, mate.
Okay.
I got your name. I think I did some Googling, and maybe I found you through Googling, but as far as I remember, I had a friend in the Netherlands who said, "Have you heard of CommissionCrowd?" Mm-hmm. I told him, "I never heard of it. Have a look on there. They got some interesting companies, and they seem to be doing very well." So I think it was through him actually
that's even better. That's even better. We love word of mouth. People when they recommend and they start talking about it, that's fantastic. And our goal is to improve the industry. I mean, traditionally the commission-only type route has been, it's got a bit of a reputation. The door-to-door, they knock on your door at 6 o'clock in the evening trying to sell you a toothbrush or something, or a vacuum. So there's a huge educational piece in there. We vet every company that comes to join us, and it's always about the sales agent. We help companies to really think about their sales opportunities, and we can completely, not change their opinion, but guide them in a way that makes an opportunity attractive to someone who is, you know, self-employed and working remotely. So no, word of mouth is even better than just finding us on Google. So excellent.
Happy to hear that.
Say hi to your friend for me.
Well, he's actually doing a job through you also.
Oh, fantastic. I'd love to speak to him at some point.
I'm sure he would like that.
Listen, I know you're extremely busy, so I'm not going to keep you long, but I just wanted to kind of end with so obviously the pandemic and, you know, the struggles that sales agents are finding just now, it's leading to a real rise in experienced salespeople trying to transition into self-employment. We're finding a lot more salespeople joining us that while they're experienced, they've never actually been self-employed. So one of our roles now is to help these people to make that transition. And obviously, while we can't give legal advice, you know, and that kind of thing, we can help to get them in the right mindset, you know, to start building their portfolios. So I would just be interested to hear if you could give salespeople one piece of advice, or more than one piece of advice, when, you know, making that transition. What advice would you give to them?
I would definitely advise them, first of all, if you are in a fixed job, in a job with a fixed income, do not give up that job too quick. Work with companies like CommissionCrowd in combination with your job. Try it out. You know, this is your chance to try it out. You know, it's a low risk for all parties, and slowly work your way to becoming independent. If you want to be your own company, it requires quite a lot of discipline, more than we ever realize. Be aware that you got to be very flexible. Your 9-to-5 job is absolutely gone forever. If you become independent, it's 24/7, 7 days a week, basically. And also be aware, if you are going to start working as a self-employed agent with overseas companies, be very much aware of all cultural differences. What we consider as normal, other people might consider as rude or abnormal. There are a lot of things that you have to get used to, but keep an open mind, study your market, study your industry, and learn everything about certain clients that you're interested in. Before you commit yourself to any company, speak with them several times, with different people in that company, possibly. Find out as much as you can and learn as much as you can about that company, about yourself, and about your industry and the new geographical market, because they always come with new things that you were not aware of that might catch you by surprise.
Absolutely.
For example, for me in the beginning, I work with an Australian company. And especially in the beginning, there are so many things when you communicate with the client that you cannot answer. And you want to go back to your company to ask headquarters, like, hey, how do I solve this one? Mm-hmm. Then suddenly you realize, oh my God, there's a time difference of a day. It takes a day extra now before I get that answer. That's a small one, but these are all kind of things that you have to become aware of. But they all can be overcome. Mm-hmm. And working international in sales is the nicest thing that anyone can do.
Absolutely.
Without any doubt.
Great advice. And you know, that's what we would generally say as well to agents that are making that transition. You know, just what you said, you know, don't give everything up straight away. You know, have a plan in place. And, you know, maybe you want to start small. You want to start selling, you know, a product or service which has a very short sales cycle. Maybe the company even provides, you know, leads occasionally. That, you know, maybe has a residual income. So you sell a product which makes you £100 or dollars or euros or whatever every single month. You know, start small. Once you've built up, you can afford to pay your bills and that kind of thing. Because a lot of salespeople, they come in, they're used to earning a lot of money, or they make a salary and they're making their commissions, and they jump straight into the companies that have the highest deal values. You know, obviously, you know, these sales, they're a very long sales cycle, and they can potentially, you know, take a long time to close. You need to pay your bills, right? So we always say, you know, start small, short sales cycles, build up, And then you can start diversifying your portfolio. You can work with, 2 or 3 companies, a mix of short, medium, and long sales cycle products where, you're earning those residuals, but you're nurturing a client that might take 6 months or a year to close, but has a massive payout at the end. So no, that's great advice. Don't just jump, straight into it. Have a plan. And we've got plenty. I'm always writing on our blog. So if anyone's watching and you want to have a read of our blog, you'll find some good stuff there as well. But listen, Frederik, I'm gonna let you go. I really appreciate your time. I know how super busy you are, and we absolutely need to stay in touch. I'll recommend when you're ready to take on new lines as well. I've got some things in the back of my head, some introductions I can make for you. So really appreciate it.
Always ready.
Great.
Thanks very much.
Thanks, Frederik.
It was a pleasure speaking to you. Take care for now.
All right.
Bye now. Bye-bye.